Today we're gonna make hopefully a very simple Unity game. Gonna start by creating a new project. Our tank tutorial 1. You can choose different templates for VR or 3D with extras, and you'll get some extra assets and stuff to help you, but for now just 3D is fine. You can also choose 2D if you want to do a 2D game. Great. Let me know if I'm going too fast or if you can't follow up on the step if you're in chat right now. It's currently opening Unity, I hope. Yeah, it is. Yeah, Unity is loading stuff for me as well. It takes a little while, but it's an empty project, so it's a lot faster than loading bigger projects. Should be done any second now. All right. Okay. Well, your computer is faster than mine then. Yeah, you probably have the default layout. I always like to change that a little bit. So you have the same layout as this one, right? You can check that in window layout, and you can also save your custom layouts. Yeah. I don't like this one that much. I always like to keep my project and my hierarchy next to each other, so I drag my project up there. And then I right click project and choose one column layout to save space. And then I drag it to the side so that I have my sample scene, which is everything that's actually in the game in one column, and all the stuff that I'm going to use in the other column. Yeah, let's start by making the ground of the game. I'm gonna put hierarchy over here actually. This is basically what you have on disk, and this is basically the current scene that you're working in. And we can start by creating a new game object, a 3D object, and make it a plane. So we basically have this is the ground now. If you look at the main camera, you can also see it here. And if you play, then you see, okay, see, this is what it looks like in game. We don't have a game yet, but that's what it looks like right now. First thing we'll need is some assets. You can download them for free. They're basically 3D models or sound packs or basically anything you might need for a game. Oh yeah, creating the ground. The guy in Twitch chat missed it. So you can I'm gonna delete the old one. This is the scene. That's what you see over here. It has the main camera in it, and it has a light source in it, and we want basically a ground thing in there. So we right click on sample scene, then go to object, 3D object. You can create a cube, a sphere, a capsule, whatever. We're gonna create a plane. That's basically the ground. Did you manage to get ground? Place ground. You can also change the position. These are all the properties of the object. Control Z reverts it. If you press E, then you can rotate it. If you press R, then you can scale it. And those are also here. Scale tool. See, that's R. Rotates E. Move is W. Hand tool is Q, but I almost never use the hand tool. Alright. I'm not actually going to use this ground, so I'm gonna delete it again and then go to the asset store. Should be over here. And we want the tank basically, because that's what we'll need for our game. It doesn't really matter what you choose, but I want a free asset for this tutorial. And I found one earlier that worked really well. I think it was called Kawaii Tanks or whatever. Let's see, where is it? Maybe on the second page. Relevant. I literally just downloaded it. This is a whole project. This is some other tanks. Reference project. Game ready to. Let's open one, see what this does. Is that the one that, no, that's not the one I was looking for. Oh, it's weird that you actually do have it on the first page. Am I missing it? Super heavy tanks. Oh, here. It's whited out because I already downloaded it. But basically you go to the page, and in your instance you still need to click download. This is the download button for you. So you have to download it and just press OK on whatever pops up. And then you choose import. This is basically everything is gonna import. We don't need all the scripts because we're gonna make our own. And let's take all the others. Let's also ignore these scripts. We don't need those. You can still import them, but it doesn't matter for this tutorial. We're just gonna use the models. Alright, then we go back to the scene. It's completely empty. And here in the projects folder, we have the tanks project, meshes, we have a firefly and a tiger tank. Let's see what the firefly looks like. I just dragged it from here into the scene. See, now I have two, but it's really zoomed in. So you have to press F to zoom all the way out and see the whole thing. I'll use the firefly this time. What I'm gonna do is create a new empty game object, and I'm going to name that tank. You can right click, rename, but I always press F2 because F2 is faster. Are you still following so far? Okay. So what we want to do is we want to rotate the top and the bottom part of the tank individually. So these are two separate game objects. I'm gonna rip things from this game object into my new one because I'm building this one from scratch, and we're gonna attach all the scripts and everything to this. So what we want is we want the turret part for now and the base part. We're not gonna bother with the tracks and animating that stuff for this tutorial. That's not really relevant for what we're gonna do today. So what we need right now is the tank is really big, so I'm gonna press R, which is this button, the scale tool, and I'm gonna scale it all the way down. Press F again to zoom in, smaller, even smaller. And I'm pressing F after each scale I did. You can also scale it sideways or in the length. That doesn't matter that much. But we have the camera here, and I want it to be in the scene. Yeah, actually, let's look at the other prefabs because they have a ground tile here, and I want a big grass tile. I'm gonna drag that into the scene. These are the properties of the grass tile. I'm gonna put that in the center of the scene with the center coordinates. And as you can see now, it is in the center. I'm gonna do the same for the tank 0, 0, 0. press F again. It's a little bit in the ground now, but that's fine. I'm pressing W, which is the move tool, and put it on the ground like this. So it's now in the center, but slightly above it. What we're going to do now is build our new tank. As you can see, it's not centered yet, so I'm going to center it first. If you don't center it, really weird stuff is going to happen. But for now, I'm going to make this the center of the object, the point where it touches the floor. So I'm going to open the tank that's already there. I'm going to take the barrel. Actually, I'm going to rotate the screen by pressing Alt. If you press Alt and you drag your mouse, you can look around. That's also good to know. I'm going to look from the side and I'm going to drag. And actually, I'm just going to click so that it takes a child of this firefly. Yeah, sadly, I can't just select like this, so I'm going to have to click this, hold Control. I want the other part of the barrel. I want the cannon. And I want the turret and the turret collider. Yeah, and these all need to go into the turret. Okay, so now it's part of this tank. I can select the old one and make it inactive in the scene by clicking this little square. And you see it completely disappears and we only have the turret that's in the other game object. And I'm gonna do the same for the body. Select everything, drag it into the base. And now we can get rid of whatever the old one was. And as you can see, I'm gonna select the turret now. I'm gonna press the E key for rotating. And right now, if I rotate this turret, all those other objects beneath it will rotate as well. I'm gonna Ctrl Z a few times to put it back the way it was. So there we have it. We now have our tank that we're gonna use. First thing we want to do is just really simply make it so that the tank moves forward. So to that end, I'm going to add a component. First I select the tank. It has the whole tank with the turret and the base in it because we want the whole thing to move. And then we're going to add a component, a script, and I'm going to call it move tank forward. Create and add. This script is now attached to the whole tank, so when we tell it to move in here, it will move the whole game object. It's going to open Visual Studio. Are you still following? Alright, so this whole thing, it's actually a game object, but it also has a transform, and that's basically this. This is the transform of the tank, and it has the position in it, it has the rotation in it, all sorts of stuff, the scale. So this is what we want to address in the code. We have the script here and we have the transform here, and we want to change these values with this script. And the way we're going to do that is by opening it, and moving objects is really easy. What we just want to do is get the transform.position, which is this, and what we want to do is we don't want to change the y-axis, we want to change the z-axis, and we want to increase that. So what we're going to do is type plus is vector 3 dot forward. So what this will do is basically I'm gonna write it in a simple way actually for new developers. Basically what this does is it says get the transform position and add to it. Actually, let me start over. Okay, this is the position of the object. What we're going to do is say, okay, the position of the object should be transform.position. So it should be the position plus vector 3 forward. Basically what vector 3 forward is it's a direction, it's a line, and it's being added up to the position the way we write it like this. So what we're going to do is go back to our project, press play. We have a few errors. This is because it somehow still imported one of the old scripts, and since we don't need that script, you see that if I double click this, yeah, I can just remove the button handler script because we're gonna write our own. So I'm gonna remove this one, delete, the errors are gone, and now when I press play, the tank should move forward. It does move forward and it's going really fast. Reload all. So what I'm going to do instead is also do it times time.delta time, and this basically means cap the movement speed to the frame rate, so that it moves in proper speed. Otherwise it moves based on the speed of your frames per second, and if you have a lot of frames per second, it moves really fast. So as you can see now, the tank is moving away from us. That's good. A little bit more explanation about the script that I actually should have done sooner. First we have the start function. In between these two brackets, everything that happens when the script is executed, everything in this function will be executed when the script starts. And in the update function, everything is continuously being done after being started. So this just repeats, and usually this repeats like, let's say 60 times per second. 60 times per second, it moves the position forward based on the time scaling. Yeah, what do you mean? Wouldn't you normally tie it to times? Someone in chat asks. That's what this is for. This translates it to the frames per second, and making sure that if you have a slow computer and I have a fast computer, this makes it so that it's balanced based on actual time, so that the objects move at the same speed on my computer as they do on your computer. So what I want to do now is go back to this scene and move the camera a little bit, because we're watching the tank from behind. So I'm scrolling backwards and clicking the move tool. I'm moving the camera over here and up a little bit, and then I'm going to rotate it to look down, and I'm going to drag. You can just drag this value, but you can also manually input it. And here you see the camera preview. I just want the tank to be in there. Oh, I'm not gonna rotate this. So yeah. Actually, let's have it so that the camera always looks at the tank. Right now, if I play, it just takes the rotation and everything. But yeah, the tank moves out of the screen, and we don't want that. For now, let's add a component. Let's look at constraint. Basically, this will force whatever object we put this constraint on to look at a certain object. So I just clicked, there's a list of sources. I'm going to add a source, and I'm going to drag this tank object to this source, so that the camera will always be forced to look at it. So now when I press play, it should look at the tank. Nope, I didn't activate it yet. Activate, now it is active. You can also see if I Ctrl Z a little bit. Now, the moment I click activate, the rotation will change to match what it's looking at. Activate, see? Now, when I press play, it will look at the tank, and the tank will move forward. So we now already have a moving object in Unity. which is the basis of all games basically. What we want to do now is maybe make the tank a little bit faster, and the best way to do that is to create a new variable. I'm going to call this a public int. You have ints, which are for whole numbers, and you have floats, which are for numbers with decimals and stuff. And you have to put an F behind it in C# to set the value. Public float move speed is 1.2. So what this does is declares a variable called move speed at 1.2, and now when I change this equation to do times move speed, it will move forward based on the time that's passed at the move speed that we put in. So I can make it 10 for a second to show that it's going really fast now. If I press play, then it should, go really fast. But let's say we want 1.2 speed or whatever. What we could also do is keep this at 10 and use the start function to set the move speed to 1.2. You don't really want that here, but it's not necessary here because we can just set it here. But it's just to illustrate that the start script will start at the moment the game starts, and this script is automatically executed. So what happens now is the game is being started, the move speed is being set to 10, then because we declared this variable at this value, then automatically start function is called, which sets the move speed to 1.2, and then every update it also bases the speed on the movement speed. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back and we're going to press play, and we can also inspect like the tank here and see the move speed is now 1.2. If I stop this and make this 1.5, it's going to be a little bit faster. We can also not declare any move speed, just have a public move speed, because if we just use float, this won't work. That means the move speed is currently undeclared, but if we go to the tank, we now see the move speed here because we made it public, and we can just put down 3 or something, and it will move at this speed because it will, as soon as the game starts running, it will set this value to this value. So move speed is now 3. We're gonna press play. Tank moves way too fast. I'm gonna make it 1 again. But now you know how to make variables appear here. Alright, so now we want to rotate the turret. And the way we're going to do that is, this is the tank. This has the move tank forward script on it. I'm gonna zoom in a little bit. This is the turret, that's the upper part of the tank, and I'm going to add a new component. The component says I'm going to add a new script, and the script says rotate turret, or I'm going to name it rotate turret actually. Alright, I can double click this to open it. Maybe I should have said that the first time as well, but whatever. What I want now is public float rotate speed, so that we can set the rotation speed of the turret. We don't need start, we can just delete that. What we want to do here is check if a certain button is pressed, yes or no. And I already have this code here. Basically you could just copy paste and find this on the internet. So inside the update function we have if input get key, key code A. Basically this piece of code says whenever the A key is pressed, do something. You can also do get key down, and now this will only work, will only trigger when the key is actually pressed, and it will only work once. If I do it like this, whenever I press it and hold it, it will continuously execute everything in here because the key is being pressed and it's in the update function. So what we want to do here is, since we're already in the turret, we want to rotate this transform, and we want to rotate it on the y-axis with, let's say speed 2 for now. Okay, so we're going back to the script. Key code A. What we want to do is transform dot rotation. Let's see, transform rotate. Sorry, and we want to rotate 0 on the x-axis. We want to rotate with the rotate speed on the y-axis, and we want to rotate 0 on the z-axis. And also, let's do this. Okay, let's not do this yet. So when we press A, it will rotate with the rotate speed. Now I'm gonna play, see if this works. Now I'm pressing A, and as you can see, it's rotating really fast. You can also change the rotate speed here to .5, and now when I press it, it rotates very slowly. Please note that the rotate speed goes back to the default value when you stop playing. So if you want to have it slower, you have to set it before pressing play. Now it will stay at a half. See, and I like that better for visual purposes. We also want to base it. Thanks, man. Want to base it on the time, so that on a computer with 30 FPS and on a computer with 60 FPS, it will be executed the same amount of time and it will move at the same speed. We want to do the same thing. We also want to look the other way, so we're going to make this the D key, and instead of rotating right, we want to rotate to the left. So this is the amount that actually rotates on the y-axis every frame. And we want that to be inverted for the other way around. So I'm going to do it times -1. I could also just write it like this, so that it takes the negative of the whatever the rotate speed is and use that value. So now when I press play again, it rotates, but it rotates really slowly because it compensates with the time delta time. So let's put the rotate speed to 50, because it's no longer doing stuff 100 times or whatever amount of frames I had per second. It's now actually doing it just once. And this is a good rotation speed. Actually, I'm going to set the speed of the tank to maybe a third or something, so that we have more time to look at it. And now, as you can see, I'm now pressing A and now pressing D. We sort of have a tank. Are you still following in chat, Elite the Tor? Alright, we're gonna start shooting soon. What we want to do now is find the bullets in effects. This package has a nice bullet in it. I'm gonna use this one. If I put it at 0, 0, 0, yeah, it's right in the center. Alright, cool. It's a little bit big right now, so we can change the scale here, but we can also press the R key and just drag it so that's a proper size. And now I'm gonna press W again to move it towards the barrel. Oh, I see it also has a trail behind it. Cool. This is a standard bullet from the package. As you can see, everything here is from the package that we downloaded from the asset store. So we have this bullet, and what we want to do with the bullet for now is there's also already a lot of stuff on it, and also a script that we no longer have. But what we want to do is have the bullet move forward. So what we're going to do is make a new script, move bullet forward. Again, it's going to be really simple. I'm going to double click on it, reload all. So what we want to do is just transform position plus is vector3 forward. This is the same as this. Basically what this says is take the current position in 3D space, and I want it to become the current position in 3D space plus vector3 forward, so plus one tiny increment in the forward direction based on its current orientation. I'm gonna keep it like this for now because it's more clear. And I'm gonna do it times the time.delta time per second. I'm also going to make a float speed, public float speed, and I'm going to set it to 10, or let's set it to 3 for now. Oh. And I'm also gonna multiply it by this. For those of you who don't know what the vectors are or how they work, it's really simple. This is an object in 2D space in this instance, and the vector3 forward would be a value that moves it forward just a little bit times the speed. So if the speed is 5, then this becomes 5 times longer, so it moves 5 times further, or every increment. This is a very basic explanation, but if you really want to learn about vectors, that's a whole different subject. For now, we have the bullet with script attached, move bullet forward. So now if I press play, it shoots a bullet. Let's pull the camera back a little bit, or maybe even the bullet and the tank. Let's pull that back a little bit. Let's press play. Bam. And now shoots a bullet with a nice trail behind it. Put it back. We can, just for the heck of it, even have the main camera follow the bullets. So instead of this source, we're going to track the bullet. So now when we press play, it will follow the bullet instead of the tank. See? You can also do the same thing with code, but right now we're going to keep it like this. Wouldn't it, editor says in chat, wouldn't it be good to have speed value that would show how many points in space thing moves per second or something? No, you don't really need it, because you're already basing it on, like, this is a standard vector. You can also put in your own vectors. This vector is based on the orientation of the bullet, and it really has its benefits that's also already in there. This is for the frames per second, and this is the speed you can just adjust, and so you have all the tools you need to make it as fast or as slow as you want. If I make this 2, it will go slower. And just for demo purposes, I'm going to take the bullet, I'm going to rotate it, I'm going to rotate it over there. So now vector3 forward is in that direction. So now when I press play, this bullet will move over there instead of over there. Or not. I didn't rotate it properly, I think. What did I do? Bullet. The script is on here. Let's remove some of the components. Oh, they're already on there. Trail renderer is fine. It should actually move in the direction of the bullet, but it's moving in that direction. I really wonder why. Because you weren't supposed to do that. Let's Ctrl Z it back to the way it was. That's weird. It's also rotating a little bit. Move bullet forward, transform position, vector free forward. Let's put it like this anyway. Time delta times speed. That's weird. It's a little bit late right now. So I could just be tired and write retarded code. Here, it seems to even itself out even after a little bit. Okay, I'm actually just going to create a whole new bullet because maybe there's something on the old one that's making it work not the way it's supposed to. So let's take this one. Actually, just I'm gonna make this bullet, name it bullet 2. I'm going to create a capsule in it. I'm gonna rotate a little bit like this. No, like this I said, 90. I'm gonna make it smaller. Gonna move it up a little bit. The orientation of this projectile doesn't really matter because it's a child of this one and this is the one we're gonna move. So we have the capsule. I'll make it a little bit bigger. Yeah. I'm gonna set it to 0, 0, 0, which is where the parent also is. If I move this forward a little bit and up. Yeah, so I'm just gonna take the move bullet forward script and add it to bullet 2. Can I drag it like this? Yep. And now bullet 2 has this script. I'm gonna remove this one. So vector 3 forward for this one should be moving in that direction. Let's check if that works first. Oops, the camera needs a new target. Let's call it bullet 2. Yeah. Chat is asking, could we get then how fast bullet or tank is moving per second or something? Yeah, you can like the distances and stuff that you use in the game is something that you're going to have to make yourself anyway. You decide how big 1 meter is in game, or 1 kilometer, or 1 mile, or basically this barrel is currently this scale and this length, and you know, but I can also scale it up based on my own needs. So yeah, basically you decide the units yourself anyway. Units of measurement and how big everything is in your game and how far certain things are and stuff like that. Let's see if this one actually does work the way I expect it to. I'm gonna rotate a little bit. I'm gonna press play. And it's still not working the way I thought it was supposed to. I might just be doing something stupid. Let's see, vector 3 forward. This should update the position. Actually, I can just take the position or not. Oops. Does it work for the tank? Let's rotate the tank and see if that actually works as intended. Oops. No, they all move forward in world space, and they need to move forward in local space. So let's see. Unity move unit forward based on rotation, whatever, that's fine. Transform position is vector 3 forward times time delta time. So the code is good. I can rotate it. Are in world space, yeah, okay, so we noticed that. To fix this, transform forward. Oh yeah, I'm an idiot. It's supposed to be transform forward. That explains everything. Now I had it like this. That's the vector 3 forward, and it's actually in world space. So that's the world orientation of basically this, like the whole scene orientation. And what I needed to do is base it on the transform rotation. And I'm going to do that for the tank and the bullet. Now it's based on transform rotation. And now when I press play, it will actually work the way I intended. Yeah, that moves forward, that moves forward. And now when I rotate the bullet, it's going to shoot off to the side. Or not, of course. Transform forward. Transform position, transform forward. Am I missing something? Into this. It is the exact same code, isn't it? It is. Times move speed. Let's see if it works for the tank. Let's rotate the tank a little bit. Yeah, it works for the tank. Good. I know what went wrong here. The code actually does work. I'm going to Control Z and Control Z again. The code actually does work, but I have the capsule selected and I rotated the capsule. Well, the script is on the parent, which is the bullet. The capsule is in the bullet. So this rotation doesn't matter. This rotation matters. So if I rotate it like this, now it should work. Yeah, see? Okay, good. So what we're going to do is, for now, let's see. All right. Normally you want to create a new object every time you press the spacebar, but for now we're just going to reuse the same bullet every time. So what we need to know is what is the rotation, the current rotation of the turret, because the bullet needs to be rotated in the exact same position. So how we're going to do that is we're going to make a reference to the turret, and also we're going to make a reference to the end of the barrel I'm going to move that to the barrel. Is that the right position? Yeah. This is the position where we want to shoot the bullet from. Saving. Alright, so we're now going back to the bullet, not to the capsule but to the bullet itself. We're going to open the script again, and we're going to get a position. Let's say we're going to get the transform of that bullet origin point, and we're going to call it bullet origin. And it starts off as nothing. No, actually I'm going to keep it like this because it's public, and I'm going to just drag it in from the scene. And we also want to know the turret, what the turret transform is, so that we can use that rotation to shoot our bullet in the direction of the turret. get turret game object, whatever. Actually, these are the names of variables. That's good to mention, and these are the type of variables. So float, that's a broken number. So this is a float speed. If I make it int, this won't work. It will show a red line because it says, yeah, integers can't be broken numbers. So I'm going to put that back. You also have public string, text string is blah blah. And there are various other file types that you store this value in this variable so that you can access it later. Just the way like here we are using this value. Here we say, okay, there's make a variable named speed, which basically you can compare it with a drawer. You have one drawer for speed, one drawer for text string. Here we are using the speed. So what we're going to do is we're going to open the speed drawer and see what's in there. Oh, it's 3. So this is 3. So that's the value that we're using. Anyway, we don't need that one, but we do need these two, and we've made them public so that they show up in the editor. So going back to the editor. This is a really messy tutorial, but I hope it will become better in the future. Okay, first we need to know what the turret is. That's this. And we're going to drag it in there so that we can access the turret's rotation. This value is what we want to access later. Then we also want to know where the exit point is. So I'm going to open the bullet again. The end of barrel is the bullet origin. Chat says, could we get then how fast the bullet tanks? Oh no, actually that I already answered that question. But this bullet is a bit ugly, so I'm going to take the old bullet again and I'm going to put it into this bullet. So this is now also a child of the object, same as the capsule. I'm going to make it smaller. Beautiful, and I'm just gonna set the capsule to inactive because we're not using it. I could also delete it, but whatever. So what we're going to do now when we press play, nothing has changed because we made references but we didn't do anything with it. What we're gonna do now is move the bullet forward based on the direction the turret is facing in. Let's see. So we're going to move it, transform forward based on turret game object rotation. So we're going to say transform.rotation is turret game object that transform rotation. And what it does is every millisecond or every frame it sets the rotation of this game object with a script on it, which is move bullet forward. That's okay, it's loading. That's this script. So every frame it's going to set the rotation of this game object, this rotation. It's going to set that rotation to the turret game object. Turret game object. That's this one. It's going to set the rotation to this one every frame. So now I'm going to let's rotate it here for a second. Let's rotate it 45 degrees. And now the bullet will still start here, but it will move in this direction because that's the way the turret is facing. Play, see if it works. See, it works. It was moving forward for one frame really quickly because it was still set to move in its own origin direction. Let's see. How are we going to make this? Let's make a fire function public function fire. What the chat asks, what if you rotate the turret while the bullet's already firing? And that's a very good question, because what will happen when you do that is the direction of the projectile will change as well. So if you look to the left, look to the right while firing, the bullet will also move in those directions. And that's obviously not what you want, so we're going to address that right now. I'm going to make a public function. Oh, I don't have to write function, it already knows this is a function. Public void, yeah, sorry. I'm not going to get into that for now, but I'm going to call this function later, and whenever we press fire, I want to do two things. I want to set the rotation of the bullet to the rotation of the turret, and I also want to set the position to the bullet origin. Let's call it bullet origin point, actually makes more sense. To the bullet origin point dot transform dot position. So this means it looks at this variable, then it looks to the transform object that's assigned to it, which is which is this one. So we're going to get the end of barrel. So bullet origin point variable has a transform. It has, this is the one it's referring to. Then we look at the end of the barrel, and this is the position that one is in. So every time we press fire, we rotate the bullet in the direction of the turret, and we also set the position to the origin point on the turret. Yes, it should only be done when we fire the bullet. So what we're going to do now is in the update function, here we have to move tank forward, and here we have to rotate turret. Later you're gonna put this all in a bit more logical places, but for now I'm gonna put this in the, I'm gonna put this here, space. What this does is whenever we press the space bar down, then execute the fire function. So now every frame it will check, did we press the space bar? If we press the space bar, execute the fire function. This is the fire function, then it sets the position and the rotation. So now we're going to open this. I'm gonna play. And now whenever I press play, alright, I'm gonna have the camera stop following that because that's annoying. Following not active, or maybe let's just follow the tank. Okay, like this, active. Now it's looking at the tank all the time, and I also noticed the turret was rotating a bit slowly, so let's rotate it at 100 speed. Play. So now we can rotate, press space, and as you can see, it's firing the bullet into the right direction. However, something is still off. I'm not sure what it is. What the hell is that? Okay. Something's wrong with the origin point. Let's see what that is. Oh, what am I looking at? Where's Unity? There's Unity. Bullets, it's at 0, 0, 0. This one is at 0, 0, 0. Where's the origin point? The origin point is here. So that should be correct, because we are referring to bullets. What am I looking at? I had a bullet. Bullet origin point is this end of barrel thing. and the end of barrel thing is there. So let's see. Okay. Luckily we're in Unity, so we can pause it and see where the objects actually are. I'm gonna click on the bullet. It's here. What? What's going on? Okay. This is a bit weird. What did I do? Ctrl Z a few times. Maybe because... Alright, let's rotate the strut back. Let's take this bullet. Let's test it again. There's something wrong. Yeah, that works. It is firing, it's just not using the right position. Let's see. Oh, it's at ground level, that's what's wrong. But why is it at ground level? That's a bit weird because we're using end of barrel, we're using this as a reference point. Oh, okay, the center of the bullet is here. So what we need to do is, this one is too low in its child, so okay, let's remove this component. Let's see. I'm gonna focus on the bullet for a second. This is the bullet. This is the child. Okay, this is a little bit weird. Because as we can see in the game, when we fire it's at ground level, and if we pause you can see it's at ground level, but the bullet itself is up here. This is the actual position of the bullet. Let's see if we enable the capsule. Yeah, the capsule is there. That's really strange. Maybe this still has gravity. Yeah, it has gravity applied to it. Maybe that's the problem. Let's not use gravity. See if that fixes the problem. Yeah, there we go. We now have a tank and we can now shoot stuff. Let's also add a target. Okay, let's make the bullet a little bit faster because that's cooler. Okay, what should we do first? Make sure the camera stays on the tank, or yeah, let's do that first, because otherwise we can't really control it properly. What we're gonna do now is okay, there's two ways to do this. First, we could add a script to the main camera that says, okay, take the position of the tank, go above it, then look straight down. Or we could just drag the camera into the tank, remove the look at constraint. Let's see, yeah. So the camera is now no longer looking at something. Then we change the rotation back to 0, 0, 0, position to 0, 0, 0. Then we just manually move the tank up and fix the rotation like so. It should be 90 degrees. Now it's looking at the tank from above, and since the camera is actually inside the parent of, the tank is the parent of the main camera, that means that all the rotations and movement stuff that happens on this tank will also happen on the camera. So now if the tank moves to the left, the camera will also move to the left. So if I press play, you can see the camera is fixed on the tank. Let's put it a little bit higher, like this. So another option would be to, the same way we have the bullet, add a script to the camera, say tank to follow. Let's make a variable transform tank to follow. Then drag the tank into there so that it has the reference of the tank. Then you can just say camera.transform.position is tank.transform.position, and then every frame it will move the camera to that point. But we're not going to do that because that's not necessary for this demo right now. I could do it in the future. Let's see. Yeah, we wanted to have some targets. So let's create a target. Game objects. Create empty target. Then we're going to. These are some props. What do we have here? A hedge, ground, a tree. Oh, it's a really big tree. Okay, let's shoot at trees. Let's kill some trees. I'm gonna select all, press F again to zoom in. Smaller, smaller. Let's put the tree into the target. 0, 0, 0. It's really big right now, so I'm gonna just scale it down with the. Oh nope. Put this back to 1 with the R key. Dragging it down. Smaller. There we go. Apparently we're gonna kill trees in this game. So this is now a tree. Let's position it. The target is on the ground level. No, the target is 0, 0, 0, 0. Now the target is on the ground level. We have this tree. And what we're gonna do is every time the bullet hits the tree, let's just teleport the tree somewhere else. We can also destroy it or set it to inactive, but let's teleport it for now so that we can keep playing. As you can see, the tree is blue. That means that we're using this tree that's in our library. And if we click, let's see. Basically, it saves the references to these, to whatever happens to the tree. So if I place a new tree now, I need to save it first. Open. No. Oh, this is an actual model. All right, fine. Then it's not relevant for now. Anyway, let's break the prefab instance just in case. And what we're going to do is check if it's hit by the bullet. So what we're going to do is have a target, then we're going to add a script to it, and the script says teleport me when hit. And what does it need to know for this? It needs to know the bullet's position, because it needs to check if it has collision with the bullet. So what we're going to do, okay, reload all. We're going to make a reference to public bullet that might hit me. Public transform bullet that might hit me. Transform, I said. Alright, and now as you can see, it should load a second. There we go. Now we can save a reference to the bullet. Now this script has access to the bullet, and what we need to do is do a collision check. I'm not sure how that worked anymore, so let's do it like this. Unity collision check. Collision.gameObject. The game object we are colliding with. Check for a match with specified objects. No. Oh, wait. Detects collision between the game objects with the colliders attached. On collision enter. Okay, but I want to All right, fine. Let's try this first. I actually only want to check it for bullets, but let's just copy paste this for now. On collision, enter. All these brackets need to open and close. If I remove it like this, then this one is never closed, and you can see it gives errors. Declared but never used. What's going on here? Alright. Detect collision unity bullet. Fine. It's best bullet collision method. Actually, we can make it really simple. We don't need to use Unity's collision detection. We can also just say if bullet that might hit me dot transform dot position dot range dot transform dot range distance. How did it work again? I'm getting really tired, as you can tell. If we want to see if the distance of the bullet, fuck it, distance check Unity, vector 3 distance. Oh yeah, that's how it worked. If vector 3 dot distance, then we have to have two different points in space. Bullet that might hit me dot transform dot position. Alright, I'm gonna type this first, then I'm gonna explain. Cannot float the ball. Oh wait, yeah, I need to check if it's smaller than 5. Alright, so what this actually does is we have two elements. We have the target that says teleport me with the script attached, teleport me when hit, and we have the bullet because we have the reference to the bullet here, and I called that bullet that might hit me. And right now what we're doing is every frame we check if the distance between transform position, that refers to the transform where the script is attached, which is this one, if this position is compare that position with the position of the bullet that might hit it, and check if it's smaller than 5. I'm actually going to show you guys what value this has by typing debug actually, and then I'm going to type distance. I'm going to add the result of this, and what this does is it writes a log of whatever value I want to show in it. Let's see, I have to close this bracket. Yeah. So now when I press play, it will always tell me in this console what the distance is between. Oh, here we go. This is the distance. Clear. The distance between the bullet and the target. If the distance is small enough, so let's say 1, then let's see. 0.5 or something, I saw that. Okay. What we're gonna do is if the distance is smaller than a half, then transform dot position is new vector 3. Then we're gonna set the position of the tree to random range. Let's say 10, 10. Oh wait, random range between 0 and 10. For the x coordinates, The y coordinates can be 0, and the z coordinates can also be between 0 and 10. So now whenever this is how comments work, by the way. Check distance between bullet and tree. Teleport tree to another location. Okay, so now we're going to execute this, and it should teleport the tree to a different location. Maybe you have the camera back up a little bit more. Let's see, y corner, let's put like this twice as high. So now we should be able to, bam, you see that? Oh, I still have A and D inverted. So let's change this to this. Let's go back. Alright, so now we can actually kill targets. Bam. And look that way. Oh, I missed. So now we have the basics of a game. I think that's gonna be all for now, because we have the basics of Unity. We have some very simple scripts, and we can sort of kill trees. High score, health bars, and some additional and new ways to do things. I'll probably address in newer videos, but for now, this test tutorial is complete, and yeah, hopefully I'll see you guys next time.